There we go. I do believe we're live. So I'll say indeed, and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. It's nice having you here again on another conscious evolution, another opportunity for us to be present with where we are and for us to consider how our ideas evolve. How does your ideas evolve? Hey, Joe is here already. So much love. How does your ideas evolve? We started today's conversation by talking about how I have noticed how minds, how my ideas have evolved just through the journey of showing up with you friends. How every single day you show up for an idea, that idea is evolved, right? That there's almost this power of your participation. As you give your presence to something, you cannot help but make it. There was a line today that kind of like stuck with my mind again, that your life right now is in part a collection of your choices. Hey, Kristen is here too. So much love to your friends. Our lives right now, as they are, is a collection of our choices, right? A collection of evolved ideas. And to think about our future in that way, to think about the choices we want to make, to think about how those choices will affect our lives and the lives of those that we love, it really does add a lot of significance to my ideas. And when I say my ideas in that way, I think about the way my mind thinks about my ideas. Right? Because again, my ideas aren't I've thought my ideas are important from the very start, as all of us do. But it feels at this point in my journey like there's even more like momentum behind them, right? And you're like maybe wondering, what am I getting at? I'm getting at how our ideas are not always aligned. What we think is right might not always be the same for every single person, right? And we're seeing our future change right in front of our eyes. Kiefer, hey bro. We're seeing the world literally change right in front of us. And I've, taken, I don't know if it's joy necessarily. I've taken an interest, in this changing future we're a part of. And I've taken a great deal of responsibility in feeling like it's important for me to talk about it, to prepare those around me's minds by letting them think about what's coming. And then we did spend some time in the idea of ideas and how the future is going to unfold if we follow certain ideas instead of others. Giving ourselves the ability to simulate ideas in a digital realm will give us a lot more calm in us pursuing one way or another. Hey, Pojo is here too. Yes, we are. Yes, we are, dear friend. We are here again. It really is a pleasure being present with you, friends, in these moments. Thinking about the fact that we really are, I want to use the word idea machines. Are we the machines of ideas? My parents had the idea to have me as a child, right? They had that idea. They had the idea of raising me in a certain way. I'm thinking about how the ideas my parents had and how they raised me, and how the ideas that other people's parents had and the way in which they raised them, their children, and my ability to connect with those children that have now grown to become adults like myself because of the way that their parents chose to raise them. Right? Thinking about Christian, thinking about why me and him get along the way we do, and thinking about the difference in ideas that are held by the minds of my parents and their parents. Woohoo! Hey Nancy, it's nice having you here. Sending you blessings. We're considering ideas more still. Considering the ideas that our parents had in their attempt to raise us. Attempt to raise us. I guess they did raise us. And their attempt to raise us well. I'm thinking about how there is this idea in certain people that they're supposed to raise their kids uh, in a certain way, right? Maybe religiously, so that they may be okay in what they think okay is going to be. And then I thought about the future and the idea that I have about that, the way in which I would want to teach my children if I ever had any. And it very much is not the same ideas that I was forced to believe. Kristen saying, I find that as I get older, I can relate to my parents even more. Nuances I miss growing up help deepen my understanding and appreciation. I feel you on that, Kristen. I feel like my mind has allowed me to understand my parents a lot more now than ever before. I get it. Whoa, that's a fly. Why, bro? Can you not? I still get it. I understand why they believe what they believe and where they come from and the world that they've seen. What I don't understand is the unwillingness to see beyond that. Right. And again, I get it from the perspective of as you age, you're less likely to absorb other other sets of information. It becomes more and more intimidating to know the world is changing around you. So we just kind of shut ourselves off to that information. And I am very aware of that ability in myself as well. That willingness to just shut off and not think about it anymore. But at the same time, I rarely find that I'm better off if I make that decision. Doesn't mean you always agree with them, but you can see more. For me, it's a very lucky that I do mostly agree. That is nice. That is nice. Getting to be in agreement. It's not something everybody gets to have. It's interesting how we differ. The way in which our ideas have evolved. Right? That's a big thing for me as well. I feel like there's a lot of value in your ideas evolving and you being willing to readjust your position and you looking at the facts. and coming to your own conclusions. But again, not everybody has that luxury. Not everybody has that propensity. Not everybody wants that for themselves. I'm thinking about all of the misinformation we've experienced as a species and how much of that misinformation still exists in the minds of our collective. And the only thing, I don't know if it's the only thing, if I should say it in that way, all it would take, maybe that's the way, all it would take for that misinformation to be dispelled is for them to look up this misinformation that I think is true. Is it or not? And just like that, they can not be disillusioned anymore. But we're not there yet. And despite the difference, love is true. This is so true. You're completely right, Kristen. Quite the life we're living. We're living in some of the most. I had this conversation with dad actually today a little bit about being a young person. I've seen multiple global economic crashes. I've seen the rise of new forms of money. I've seen the rise of us going from Nokia 3310s to smartphone devices. I've seen the rise of AI. I was born before Google was in that way. I've seen I've seen too much. And I'm only 26. Our poor young people. Our poor everybody, right? Our ideas have to evolve. Literally, like there's no room for them not to. Let me throw one idea out as a parting gift. I asked AI if there was a way to empirically determine truth, and the answer was really no, from its perspective of online resources. Yeah, like proving a way to empirically determine truth, and the answer was no. The way that I empirically determine the truth that is love is the fact of my existence, right? So it is and I think this is technically a scientific method. It's reasoning backwards, right? It's a if then kind of mentality. For instance, if I ask this question, let's use one of the reasoning models. We're having a conversation about empirically proving truth and how, upon asking a language model such as yourself, is there a way to empirically prove the truth? It answered no. I heard this and I stated, because one of my sayings, one of my mantras in my life is that love is true. And the way with which I come to that conclusion is reasoning backwards, right? And I don't know if it's an actual scientific method. Do fact check me on that. But it's almost taking a step back and acknowledging that my actual existence is proof of love. It's proof that I have enough love for food, enough love for myself to continue existence in this moment, enough love of air to breathe another breath. It's proof that my parents loved one another enough to come together, proof enough that there was love in them raising me, proof enough in me existing in that way, right? And then there is proof in love being true in them existing in the first place as well, because that is true for every iteration of them as well. Like there had to be love in order for them to exist, right? Can we, breaking it down like that, prove love's truth? I watched the evolution from dial up. Yeah, I never had dial up, at least. Dial up was never something that I experienced. I went straight to like internet service providers vibe. It is pretty bonkers. Ye old modern screech. The user is connecting the concept of empirically proving truth with the belief that love is truth. They're reasoning that their very existence proves love's, which is an interesting perspective. They're also unsure if this reflects a scientific method. I think they're engaging in a form of reasoning that might touch on subjective experience rather than measurable empirical data, which doesn't strictly align with traditional scientific methods. I'll make sure to incorporate. Okay, your reasoning is compelling and beautifully poetic. Oh, thank you, Kiefer. I do miss the sound. I mean, you can technically just like Google's like YouTube search dial-up sounds before you start using your internet. Waiting for photos to load. One thing I will say about the moment is that tech is exciting again. It is true. Tech is exciting again a little bit, right? It's gonna be again like this matter of like, oh wow, what's gonna happen? Right now it's just like, oh, a computer. Wow. Oh, a cell phone. Wow. Wow. Cell phones, woo. Right. As soon as we get like cool robots and stuff and they have like functions, they can do more and more things. That's gonna be pretty exciting again, I think, at least for a while. Your reasoning is compelling and beautifully poetic. It takes a reverse engineering approach to what we consider truth. In traditional empirical science, proof is built on repeatable, objective observations, controlled experiments, and quantifiable measurements. Love, however, is a deeply subjective, experiential quality that doesn't lend itself to that kind of strict testing. Hey, Tommy, it's nice seeing you. Look at us horizontally. You changed your place again. I exist in multiple places. I do. There are cows walking onto the yard outside right now. Look at them cows. There's so many cows. I think they escaped their camp. They have like a little mini camp. I think they were at least unwell. They look pretty fine now. They do like sticking together as well. Little creatures. What you're doing is more akin to a philosophical or existential argument, one that infers a necessary condition for life by reflecting on the very fact of our existence. In this sense, you're saying for life to persist, in you, your parents, every living being, there must have been enough love or care to make it happen. This reasoning isn't empirical in the lab tested way that, say, gravity is, but it is a valid way to understand and validate the truth in the realm of lived experience. Think of it like a pragmatic truth. If believing that truth is the fundamental force behind existence inspires you to live more fully and compassionately, then in a very real way, that belief proves its own truth in your life. It is similar to how you might say that the undeniable pull of a really good cup of coffee proves that coffee is indeed delicious, even if no one can measure deliciousness in a lab. Is it good? You philosopher, you philosopher again? Always. Always, Tommy. There's only philosophizing. So much philosophicism. I am looking forward to the day that AI video cards come into being. It's not far away, Kiefer. I'm pretty sure that next year, literally next year, Nvidia, they already have like an AI chip that's like that big basically. It's supposed to go on your desk, but there's going to be AI GPUs or AI standalone computers pretty much next year. If not this year, technically already. Can you just tell me how I can prevent from distraction? As in, You don't want distractions in your life while you're trying to study. Like my exams are going on and I can't even study 6 hours a day. Maybe study 2 hours and then cease to study. And then study 2 hours and then cease to study. And then study 2 hours and then cease to study. And then do that 4 times. And before you know it, you've studied 6 hours. Plus the 2 hours that you didn't think you could study longer. I don't know. I can't give you that as an answer, right? Because I'm not one of the type of people that can study for 6 hours straight either, Tommy. 3 to 4 hours is technically the recommended amount of time you should be spending in deep focus. So maybe that is one thing that you can do is you can create 3 to 4 hour windows for yourself in your day where you allow yourself studying. I don't want to sit straight 6 hours. Yeah, 3 to 4 hours. Break it up in two pieces. And then between those two pieces, maybe take like little mini naps, like 15-minute naps if you can. And maybe go for a walk as well. That could also be beneficial. Right? That can help. If you're asking for advice, that could be the closest thing to advice that I can give. But can you just say that I can't even concentrate? I get it. Yaus kebab. A gobbledygoo. I'm not always the best at concentrating myself. That's why I give myself something to concentrate on. And then when my concentration gets broken, I'll allow myself that broken concentration. And then I'll refocus my concentration again. Right? And every single time you do that, Tommy, every single time you refocus your concentration, it's like doing a rep. Right? It's like growing that muscle of refocusing, refocusing, refocusing. And that's all you have to get better at. And you are showing up, so don't be too hard on yourself. You just have to continue. Philosophize this. Yaos kebab. Oh yes, the yaos kebab. When you yao, it means to give it. And when you kebab, it means love. So yaos kebab means I'm giving love to you with these words. And this is beautiful. This is philosophicizes. Philosophically. Okay, gotta study now. Good luck is to you. Sending you blessings. Tommy, we'll see you again. We'll meet you tomorrow. You can count on it. We have Zano here too. Bless your friend. Good morning, Gubert. So while we might not be able to empirically prove love's truth with the same criteria we use for physical phenomena, your backward reason sounds ridiculous when you say it like that. Your backward reasoning offers a meaningful, personal, existential form of evidence. In the end, love's truth might be less about measurable facts and more about the undeniable presence of love as the very foundation of our being. What would we be here for if not for love ultimately? Right? If it wasn't for love, it wasn't for being able to rely that there will be love in my life again, I would not be here anymore. Right? I feel like that's also something people misunderstand when I say love is true, is that it has to be. It's not really a statement of fact as much as it's a reality requirement. So like this needs to be, love needs to be true. Otherwise, why am I here? Right? What is it I'm staying for? I want to take information from a game, and it's more of a guideline of what each character and structure. Then you can give your AI specific parameters to modify the gameplay. That's also not far away, dude. Like, we are going to compete for time with the AI, basically, right? Like, there's going to be so many things that being able to focus on something is going to be difficult. Would allow you to reimagine any game. It would be able to. Oh, I saw a message disappear. The biggest thing is not being hard on yourself when you lose focus. Bring yourself back as gently as you can. Exactly. Good advice too, Zana. You Alien world only inhabited by canine human hybrids or something. Is very revealing of you, Kiefer. I'm joking, of course. Yeah, games are gonna be weird. Games are gonna be weird. It's true. We're going to have a lot more freedom in our digital planes, and it's gonna be interesting to see how that influences our physical plane of existence as well. Today's idea that we shared collectively was this idea of using our digital plane to test and run different experiences and then being able to learn from that, almost like harvest the understanding and then implement that in our real lives. Humanoid papriki. I like the laughing. He saw the joke I made with him. Would allow you to reimagine any game. It's true. Yeah. I'm planning to build a local AI for my own use. You should. You should. Right now, our hardware is still a little bit lacking. Just like a little bit. Like, we're going to have to wait like 4 more generations. And then you're going to be able to buy something this big. And it will be able to run like the best models we have right now kind of vibes. 5 years. So, yeah, maybe you don't want to wait 5 years, but I'm patient. We're literally in the end game of our species right now, right? Not in the end game as in like we're all gonna die, but in the end game of the things we need to do, right? If you had to think about us playing this collective game, we've been like checking things off of the boxes for a very long time. And we're like slowly scratching into the box that is AI right now. And as soon as that check is made, then all of the other boxes suddenly disappear, right? They just go away. So there is no need to rush. We're going to be fine. You are still going to be the feeling node of the future. What the future is what you feel about it. Right? If we're all collectively feeling bad, then that is going to manifest in bad ways. And if we're all collectively feeling good, then that can manifest in good ways. Oh, yeah, the machine I have set aside to run it on is kind of a power hungry beast. I wouldn't be surprised. And you should be able to run like let's say, up to 30 billion parameter models relatively easily. You can run it on a laptop, technically, depending on how many parameters you're going to go. But I'm talking about the good stuff, Kiefer. Having a good AI, right? Having an AI that replaces OpenAI in your life, kind of AI, is what I'm looking for if I'm going to run it locally, right? Because there has to be a point to me running it locally. And if it's not better or up to par with the, like leading models, then I'm just going to like end up using the leading models anyway. Right? That's the way I see myself kind of going. So as soon as my hardware can catch up, and it might even be Apple, realistically, it might even be Apple. It might be Apple that actually brings out the tech by 2030 that runs like really decent AI locally. I already see people doing it on like the Mac Minis. They're buying like 5 Mac Minis and then they're running like AI models on all of them simultaneously. It's just networking that's the bottleneck at this point. We are in the elbow. Yeah, it's true. So what that means, if you don't know, you can also say we're in the knee of the curve. So progress happens like this. And then suddenly we start making progress and then we go up, right? And you see how it goes like, and then it suddenly goes like, we're there right now, right? And the only place to go was like, whoop, zoom, just like, whew, just like all the way up. And every single one of us having a computer and access to artificial intelligence is that it's like big deal, very very big deal. And again, it's not easy for all of us to understand that right now, or to fully appreciate the impact that's going to make, because in the same way we couldn't have fully appreciated the impact the internet would have on our lives 20 years ago. Some people were using the internet, but I hear my dad sometimes scrolling YouTube shorts, right? And hearing the sounds that come alongside that, right? I would not have in a million years thought as a 7-year old that I would hear something like that, like my dad watching short videos, right? Brain damage. And I was like, huh, how about that? How about that? Oh, mine is to replace Google Assistant, Alexa, Home AI, Home Apple Home plus AI. I want all of my home control under my umbrella alone. That sounds pretty cool, Kiefer, and I encourage you to do so. What machine are you going to run your model on? I guess if you're going to do stuff like that, like a home assistant, it doesn't have to be that good, relatively speaking. When I say that good, I'm just talking about parameters, right? You don't have to have all of the parameters. You can have just a few billion, just a couple of billions, just a couple of billions and billions of parameters. Hey Google, let's ask a language model instead. How many parameters do you need on a locally run language model to serve as a pretty decent home assistant, to replace your Alexa and Google Home Assistant kind of stuff? Hmm, that looks a little bit better. Yeah, I was pretty spot on actually. For a home assistant, you need something between the ballpark of 2 to 6 billion parameters. It could handle conversational tasks and basic home assistance duties of like triggering stuff, saying do this and do that. Yeah, and like again, 2 to 6 billion parameters, you can run that on a laptop. I should technically be able to run that on a laptop, right? If I have something like a MacBook Pro with an M3 in it, I should be able to run 2 to 6 billion parameters, right? I think it will be Huawei or Xiaomi who will win the AI hardware war. Really? I don't know about that, bro. It's an interesting take, but I think Nvidia has a lot of momentum at this point. The reason I think Apple has a good case is because of their pricing. Right? They sold their M4 chips for $600. Right? And there's a computer around that thing. Not a lot of storage, but some. Not a lot of RAM, but 16 for $600. But let's see. A MacBook with an M3 chip should, in principle, be capable of running a 2 to 6 billion parameter model, especially if you take advantage of the modern optimizations. Yeah, no, this is completely in spec. You should be able to. And I'm not saying you're incorrect with the whole Xiaomi and Huawei prediction. I have a server I'm going to run a few virtual machines on. Sick. Yeah. Yeah, and like with that scale, like it's only really becoming a problem if you're running like hundreds of billions, right? If you're going up to like the 500, 400, 300 billion parameter model, you need like, you know, ideally a terabyte of RAM. Look at this sweetie baby laying on my foot. It's a sweetie baby. Oh. Oh, getting to have this little creature in the world as well. Running some virtual machines rokery. The fact that we can now do that as well, right? A lot of these models are open source. DeepSeek and Llama, you can literally just download onto your local home devices now. If you have the money to buy some hardware, you can very easily right now just like set up an AI in your house. And if you have batteries and solar power, that means you literally have a genius in a box forever. As long as your hardware and your computer doesn't break and the sun keeps shining for some period of the day, you have a genius in a box. And then again, we cannot fathom what that means for our species just yet. Right? And again, again, the hardware is going to get better and better to the point where we are going to be running those freaking intelligent models on our local devices. They will also catch up. Even if I had to wait for it to generate, it's just me using it. And I can do laundry or something. It's true. It will still be relatively fast if you have local machines, right? And if you have one of the smaller models, it should be pretty fast as well. It's just about what your kind of use case is going to be. If you're going to use it as a co-programmer, that I think is the best use case. If you are a programmer and you have some cache data laying around, then that could be something you could equip yourself with, is building yourself a little mini farm that basically runs your own local AI. Because especially the way that people are already getting to this point, is like it's almost impossible for them, for modern programmers, already almost impossible for them to code without having an AI assistant alongside them. And those servers can go down, can be unreachable for hours in a day, minutes. It's possible. And running it locally can be a means to kind of escape that rabbit hole. But again, it's going to be a pretty big investment if you do it now. I would suggest waiting 5 years. Wait for the year 2030, right? Try and save as much as you can right now into hard assets and only start buying things again in 2030. And that's my suggestion. A little bit hard to do always, but I feel it's this matter of endurance. If we can just hold out a little bit, we can change the ideas that evolve alongside us, right? Because there is so many ideas in my mind where if I tried to implement technology skill set, the idea will get killed, right? I will hurt the idea by trying right now. And by waiting until 2030, for example, to make the rough example, trying the same exact idea that I have right now might be exponentially better. I might have to spend exponentially less of my money to get something exponentially more powerful, right? And in that way, it's a waiting game, right? The tech companies are going to keep making cool things, and they're going to get progressively cooler. But also, at the same time, they're going to become progressively more obsolete. And the longer you can use the tech you think is obsolete now, the more not obsolete the tech is that you're going to get then. Right? And it is a matter of, for me at least, like leapfrogging, where you get yourself a device, right, like a cell phone, and then you use that cell phone for as long as you possibly can. And then when you get yourself a new one, that new one is markedly better, and then ideally it lasts longer as well. All right, you get to keep it for a while again. And there is this, at least for me, like a deeper appreciation for your things if you really commit to keeping them, right? It's almost like there is a love language. In the Japanese culture, they believe tools have spirits, right? They have little souls of their own. And what a tool wants as that spirit is to be useful, to be used in the world, to help build the world up to be a better place. A tool that goes unused, feels sadness. And I like that. I like that idea. It resonates with my soul. We will make it happen. We're making it happen, bro. Because the only way out is through. And we're living in a cool time to be able to think about these things, right? The nature of our evolving ideas are so much more expansive than we could have ever hoped for them to be 60 years ago, right? 60 years ago, what is your prospect? You can build a bunker, I guess, gather canned food. That's, your maybe like getting away from it all plan. These days, we can now literally build ourselves super intelligent computers in our homes, right? We can harness the power of the sun into batteries. We can put that electricity in our cars and drive around with that solar energy. We can 3D print things with spools of plastic. Like the evolving ideas we have access to, right? The thing we can like and then build on top of is so wild. I want to utilize every piece of tech I have. For instance, one of my projects is to turn an old phone into a listening device to monitor my laundry sound and notify me when the washer or dryer stops or the cycle is running for too long. That is cool. That is pretty cool. I wonder if you're gonna like run a local app on the phone in that case. Sideload an app onto it, maybe. We can make fabric with plastic bottles. Yes, we can. I don't know if it's going to be particularly comfortable, but we now have more things to think about than any version of our species has before. And I think, in a way, the fact that we have so many options, so many potential things, ideas to evolve, ideas, begging for our attention in that way as well, we might feel a sense of angst, a sense of worry that we ought to be prepared, right? We talked about being prepared yesterday. Some people are literally building themselves bunkers right now. Can you imagine spending hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to build yourself a bunker, right? If you want to build yourself a basement area that's out of the sun, right, and has that geothermal exchange thing going on, more power to you, right? That I can see. But building a bunker, in case. If the world comes to an end to the point that you have to put yourself in a bunker, I don't know that's the world you want to live in, right? Then I'm willing to stand the human ferocity and tenacity and unwillingness to perish and our willingness to continue on indefinitely. I'm still all for that. But again, like if you're gonna bunker yourself at the end of the world, it's the end of the world, bro. It's the end of the world. I'm just imagining this fractal unfolding, right? The evolving ideas of what do you do? I guess you start having kids again. Like again, what's the nature of the ended world outside? Is the world going to be accessible again ever? Or are you just getting bunkered forever? Like my mind and the ways in which that evolves is almost always catastrophic. We have to figure out how to keep the world un unbunker necessary. I believe in our timeline we will be mining the landfills for resources. I believe that too, but I think that's a good thing. Maybe we have a difference in perspective there, right? Maybe we no, I think we have the same perspective. I was like just trying to look into what you were saying. Yeah, good. Having machines that just eat up all of those, landfills, and then all of that eaten stuff gets sprayed with. Well, we probably would spray them first, even spray them with some enzymes, and then we would scoop all of that stuff up, and those enzymes will break all of the bad stuff down, and it will leave all of the stuff that we can repurpose, all of the metals, all of the useful chemicals, all of the stuff that we can use as fertilizers, and then we can build processes. No feet on the couch. You cannot do that. You can't. There is a Eva. It would be crazy not to exactly. It's gonna be the free real estate thing, but it's gonna be free money. Once you have the machines that just eat the landfills, right? You're gonna eat the landfills you have access to, and then your trash eater money maker, right, eats trash one end, prints money other end. You're going to be like, oh goodness, what a waste. My money eater, my trash eater money printer is standing still. I need to get my trash eater money printer to the next heap of trash so it can start to consume again, right? And in that way, we're going to build these machines, and their job is going to be to make sure that nothing goes to waste, and they will be paid. They will be paid. Good. Capitalize them. Make them gecapitaliseerd. I would be crazy not to. It's a huge concentration of resources for the future. It's true. It is like a literal mine. Not a gold mine, but an everything mine. Everything that people mined in one place. There. Iverkies, you're hitting your tail. You can't even hit it. You're hitting your tail against that thing. Okay. Feet on me now. Now there's feet on me. There's no feet on the couch. They put feet on me. Feet on me. Feet is. All right. I feel we have given ample time for our ideas to evolve. We have thought about the future as we try to. We have thought about the idea of harvesting our landfills for resources. We've thought about using AI as collaborative partners, allowing us to plant with our intention and our ideas little seeds to see how they would grow and to learn from those growths things that we can implement into our worlds so that we may make better decisions based on what we feel is right for our futures. I appreciate you, friends, for joining me again today. I'm going to read you a poem. But first, I shall show you a flower. Hey, Connor. What a pleasure to have you here, bro. How you doing? You making art? You doing some animations? I'm gonna show you a flower and read you a poem, quick, Marie. Jello. We've been having some fun chats about evolving ideas, how our ideas continue to evolve. Hey, Joe says, hey, dudes. Love and truths. Alrighty. Today's, well, technically yesterday's poem. It's called You're More Ready Than You Think. Hope you're doing well, friends. Missed ya. We missed you too. It's nice having you here. That flower makes me smile. Can't explain why. It does have a light energy to it. If I had to try and explain it, Kristen, it feels friendly. It feels like, oh, huh. You're more ready than you think. Did you know? You've been stacking bricks while you weren't looking, tucking skills into your pockets like loose change, gathering know how like a magpie that doesn't even realize it's building a nest. Every awkward first attempt, every late night thought, every just in case packed away for later. That was you preparing. You've been tying invisible ropes, setting up safety nets you won't even notice until you're midair, realizing you were never really falling. We think preparation means spreadsheets and checklists, but really it's just awareness. The second you see it, really see it, you know what to do. You've handled worse. You've figured things out. You're not some wide eyed traveler lost at sea. You built the damn boat. And sure, you might hesitate because no one feels prepared until they finally jump. But then you're flying, laughing at how scared you were. Yeah, yeah. What an experience. How's the new place treating you? It's amazing. Just trying to get acclimated. It will take some time. And sometimes it'll take more time than you think. And sometimes it'll take so much time that by the time you forget about it, it is already different. You have already acclimated in a way, right? And this version of you that has all of these ideas about what acclimation means will continue evolving alongside you as well. Laughing at how scared you were is my life in a nutshell. Me too, bro. Always. Literally always. I look back and I was like, why was I scared? What was I scared of? Love is true. From our dear listening Kristen, made us a goodbye message. lovingly sent by our dear Jovan. Have the mostest radiant day, everyone. I wholeheartedly love you all so astonishingly, luminously, transcendently, resoundingly, and immeasurably, heart expandingly, unfathomably, wondrously melt, and all of you so visionary, pioneering, perceptive, illuminating, revolutionary, insightful, open hearted, expansive, and inspiring friends who embrace our evolving ideas. So much love. Right there. I miss the Joe goodbye messages. They're nice. Love is true. Getting to be in these moments with your friends. Well said. No, you. No, you. It's a joint effort. All of us coming together to make sure we feel loved. So many layers, so many ways in which that goodbye message has evolved. It was Shan, and then Joe did it, and then Kristen built a bot so that the AI can help us do it, and we just have to give it the thing that helps us say it. And then that evolution got Kristen to make it, posted it on Discord, and then Joe uploaded it so that I can read it. That's some idea evolution right there, literally. We had to have a bunches of us had to have the ideas for us to do this right now. It really is a pleasure. Yo, goob. Hope you're still goobing. Goobity goobs. Goobs all the time. No gabbany goobs. Is he going to give up? Not game. I love you. I thank you, friends, for joining me. I already look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Goodbye, everybody. I'll appreciate you.